In the centuries after the great collapse of the southern lowlands, the heart of Maya civilization shifted north. Where once cities like Tikal and Copan had ruled, silence now lingered over abandoned temples and plazas. But in the Puuc Hills and the flat plains of Yucatan, new centers rose to carry forward the legacy. Uxmal flourished with intricate palaces of stone, their facades covered in masks of the rain god Chak, guardians of life in a drier land. To the east, Chichén Itzá became a city of power and spectacle, its towering pyramid of Kukulkán casting long shadows across vast ceremonial courts. Here, the Maya drew not only from their ancient traditions, but from the wider world around them. Traders carried copper bells, turquoise, and fine textiles from distant lands. Warriors bore influences of Toltec culture, blending foreign gods and rituals with their own. Though the age of the southern kings had passed, the Maya were not a vanished people. They adapted, transformed, and endured. In the north, the story of their civilization entered a new chapter, one of resilience, reinvention, and enduring splendor. Among the northern cities, none shone brighter than Chichén Itzá, the jewel of the north. By the 11th century, its pyramids and plazas had become the stage for religion, politics, and power on a scale the Maya world had never seen. At the heart of the city stood the temple of Kukulkán, El Castillo, a pyramid aligned with the sun itself. During the equinox, shadows formed the body of a great serpent, slithering down the steps to meet its carved head below. To the Maya, this was no coincidence, but a living sign of the god descending from the heavens. Nearby, vast ball courts echoed with the sound of ritual games, where victory and defeat carried sacred meaning. Pilgrims and traders poured into Chichén Itzá from across Mesoamerica, drawn to its sacred cenotes, believed to be portals to the underworld and to its bustling markets overflowing with jade, cacao, and exotic goods. For centuries, Chichén Itzá was more than a city. It was a beacon of faith and commerce, a place where myths were enacted in stone, and where the Maya reimagined their world in the shadow of Kukulkán's pyramid. Among the gods of the post-classic age, none captured the imagination more than Kukulkán, the feathered serpent. A deity of sky and earth, wisdom and renewal, Kukulkán embodied the balance of worlds. His cult spread swiftly through the cities of the north, carried by priests, merchants, and warriors. To the Maya, Kukulkán was more than a local god. He was linked to Quetzalcoatl, the serpent lord of central Mexico, proof of the deep ties between the Maya and the Toltec world. This blending of traditions gave new shape to Maya religion, weaving foreign influences into ancient belief. Nowhere was his presence felt more strongly than at Chichén Itzá. The pyramid of Kukulkán, El Castillo, was a temple of both stone and light. At the solstices, the setting sun cast a descending serpent of shadow upon its stairway, uniting heaven and earth in a living miracle. Through Kukulkán, the Maya reimagined their place in the cosmos. His image, carved in stone and danced in ritual, was both a promise of renewal and a reminder of the power that flowed through the sacred bond between gods and men. As Chichén Itzá's power faded in the 13th century, a new city rose to prominence, Mayapán. Unlike the dynasties of the classic age, Mayapán was ruled not by a single divine king, but by a confederation of noble families. Together, they shared power, forging a different path for Maya governance. Behind Mayapán's defensive walls, temples and palaces echoed the grandeur of earlier cities. Its leaders maintained order through councils and alliances, balancing the ambitions of noble houses. This system was fragile, yet it allowed Mayapán to dominate the Yucatan for nearly 2 centuries. Even in this new political world, Maya traditions endured. Priests still charted the skies, recording the movements of stars and planets. Artists carved and painted, weaving sacred symbols into murals, pottery, and codices. Rituals honored the gods, blending ancient beliefs with the new cult of Kukulkán. Mayapán stood as the last great capital of the Maya, a reminder that even as old systems collapsed, the creativity, faith, and knowledge of this civilization continued to thrive. In the post-classic world, the Maya were bound together not only by faith and tradition, but by the lifeblood of trade. Vast networks stretched across forests, mountains, and seas, linking cities of the Yucatan with central Mexico and the Caribbean coast. Merchants carried obsidian for blades, salt from coastal flats, cacao for feasts and rituals, and jade and feathers reserved for nobles and gods. These goods flowed along causeways, through bustling markets, and across borders, weaving the Maya into a wider Mesoamerican economy. Along the coasts, seafaring canoes cut across turquoise waters, laden with cargo and paddled by skilled navigators. From Honduras to the Gulf of Mexico, Maya mariners connected distant ports, making their cities part of a vibrant web of commerce. Trade was more than exchange. It was connection. It brought wealth, ideas, and stories, reinforcing the Maya's resilience even in times of shifting power. Through their networks, the Maya proved themselves not only masters of stone and time, but of the roads and waters that bound their world together. While cities across the Yucatan rose and fell, one kingdom endured far longer than most: Tayasal, home of the Itzá Maya. Hidden deep in the Petén region of modern Guatemala, its temples rose above Lake Chichén Itzá, a city both remote and resilient. The Itzá traced their heritage to Chichén Itzá, carrying with them traditions of Kukulkán and the memory of past glories. In Tayasal, they preserved the old ways, rituals, hieroglyphs, and ceremonies that had once echoed across the classic cities. Here, kings still claimed sacred power, and the rhythms of Maya life continued largely untouched. As other kingdoms fell under foreign influence, Tayasal stood apart. Traders and envoys came and went, but the Itzá resisted domination, guarding their independence with determination. For centuries, the city remained a beacon of continuity, proof that the Maya world had not vanished, but endured in defiance of time. Tayasal would remain unconquered until the very dawn of the colonial era, the last great stronghold of a people who refused to surrender their traditions or their spirit. By the 15th century, the unity of Maya power was fracturing once more. Great capitals like Chichén Itzá and Mayapán had faded, and in their place rose dozens of smaller city-states, each striving to dominate its neighbors. Old rivalries reawakened. Noble houses forged shifting alliances only to break them in cycles of intrigue and betrayal. Warfare flared across the Yucatan and Petén, not unlike the struggles of the Classic Age centuries before. Armies marched along ancient causeways, their banners raised high, while villages bore the cost of endless conflict. These rivalries drained strength and splintered unity, Where once the Maya had built empires of stone and knowledge, now divisions left them vulnerable. Trade routes faltered, fields went untended, and the cohesion that had sustained their civilization weakened under the weight of internal strife. Yet, even amid division, the spirit of the Maya endured in their rituals, their markets, and their unbroken devotion to the gods. The 15th century was an age of both resilience and fragility, a final echo of the rivalries that had long shaped the destiny of the Maya world. On the eve of a new century, whispers spread along the Maya trade routes. Merchants spoke of strange ships with white sails, spotted far out on the horizon. Foreigners from across the sea, their origins unknown, their intentions uncertain. The shadow of conquest was drawing near. Already tales of upheaval reached the Maya from distant lands, where the Spanish pressed against the shores of the Caribbean. Yet in the forests and cities of Yucatan and Petén, life carried on. Rituals honored the gods, markets bustled with cacao and jade, and priests charted the movements of the stars. Culturally, the Maya world remained strong, a civilization still alive with art, science, and faith. But politically, it stood divided. City-states quarreled, alliances fractured, and rivalries consumed energy that might have been turned toward unity. As the 15th century waned, the Maya faced a future clouded by uncertainty. The stage was set for the arrival of conquerors who would change Mesoamerica forever. Yet even in the shadow of the conquistadors, the Maya spirit endured, resilient, unbroken, and ready to face the storms to come.